Removing harmful information from your credit report. Is it wrong if it's right? The ethics of credit repair. Brought to you by yourlegaligot.com, your advantage if you were being sued by debt collectors. In this video, we discuss the ethics of removing bad information from your credit report, even if that information happens to be correct. Some people believe that if the information is correct, they should just leave it on their reports. We disagree. First, let's review what your credit report is. As obvious as it may sound, it isn't obvious. We reviewed that briefly in part 1 of the set of videos, the moral question, and we'll make it even briefer here. To speak practically, credit reports exist to make it easier for companies to charge you more or to refuse to do business with you. They're about assessing and shifting risk, but they're not for your benefit. They contain information drawn from your credit activities, but also many things from your lifestyle and other public or publicly available information. We don't actually think that it's wrong for businesses to use the information they can get, but we are concerned about privacy and how the businesses are getting all of the information they are getting. It's getting so centralized. We've discussed the moral questions already and concluded that you have no moral duty to play their game or help them hurt you. That's what bad information does. It allows businesses to shift risks or costs onto you and off of themselves. But what are the ethics of the situation? You're in the game, they dragged you in. Now, how are you supposed to play? Think of the rules of a football game. You may not think it's moral to be involved in the game, but once you're there are rules. That's the way you are with credit reports. You know that lots of businesses are using them whether you like it or not. Now the only question is, how are you going to play the game? The rules provide you various ways to win the credit report game. You can attack the truth of the information, you can attack the age of the information, and you can attack the evidence of either the credit reporting agencies or the companies that give the information, the furnishers. You can attack one of them one time or all of them many times. We believe that you should attack as many of them as you need to get as much bad information removed as possible. You should play to win, in other words. On the top level, this is ethical simply because it's allowed by the rules. In our view, that's enough. Just as debt collection cases are adversary and you have a right to try to win them, so is the credit reporting system adversary. Just play by the rules. But let's go a little further. Credit reports are used by businesses to make many kinds of decisions, as we said above. Let's just say in one example that the business is trying to decide whether to give you a credit card. It will certainly be looking at your credit report. It's a company that can tolerate a certain amount of risk and has a certain amount of money to lend. In a sense, then, you are competing with other people who want to get credit cards from the same company at the same rates. I know that the question is really more complicated than that, and yet in a way this is what is happening. The credit card has to set a lower limit on the credit scores it will accept, and it does this for the reasons and in the ways we just said, among other things. In setting this limit, it knows that some people have false bad information on their reports. That's all good for the bank, though. They just charge them more. The credit card banks also know, however, that there are some people whose credit reports do not contain all the bad information there is, and that is a very different question for the bank, because now it presents a higher unknown risk. What do? They have actuaries who assess this risk. You know, how many people by percentage have better credit reports than they might, or than their information justifies. This is a number, and the bank uses it to decide whether you will get your card and how much your rate will be. Don't think they don't do this, or even that they shouldn't. But see what's happened. The people who do manage to get truthful bad information off their reports make the banks adjust their rates and numbers statistically. In plain English, the fact that some people get bad information off their reports raises the cost for everybody else. These are just the rules of the game. That's the way it's got to be because there's so much bad information, false information out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Put another way, the businesses using the information in a credit report assume that you will remove whatever you can that hurts your credit report. If you don't, it's on you. You're going to be overcharged. They don't have a problem with that. That gives you an ethical right to do it, to remove the information. Some people might say you joined this game voluntarily and should play by moral rules that require you to let the businesses using credit reports keep any truthful information, whether this results in an overcharge or not. Is it wrong? It's wrong to fight truthful information, they say. I notice that these people are much, much less concerned with anything wrong the mega businesses do than anything that individuals do. Some of these people are just kowtowing to power, in other words. But look at it realistically. Most people do not have a choice practically whether the businesses will use credit reports. Sure, they sign giving permission in many cases, and sometimes I guess they don't, but that's a condition for all credit in many jobs, all jobs of a certain sort. In the law, contracts of adhesion, that is where you don't really have a chance to negotiate the terms of the contract, are not truly freely entered, and this just reflects the reality of the situation. You're forced to play the game. And some people are using the rules to make their reports better. The businesses know that and add to your costs, regardless of whether your report has all the bad information that it should have or not, or even false information. They can't know. So why not play by the parts of the rules that let you win the game? I say that's completely right and ethical. I'd like to hear your opinion on this if you can keep the comments reasonably polite and intelligent. You could disagree, but I won't leave personal attacks up in the comments. Fair enough? Protect what's yours and don't let the debt collectors or the credit reporters rip you off. Debt collection is a social justice issue, and so is credit reporting. Take action to protect yourself and help others to do the same. Please like this video, share it with anybody you think could use it, subscribe and comment, as all these things help others find our materials. YourLegalLegUp.com